Morning Class 6, hope you're all okay and enjoyed a longer weekend, and welcome to today's lesson. And today's about quadrilaterals. Quadrilaterals are 2D shapes, and I'll just tell you a bit about where the name comes from. So these are Latin originated words. Quadri is the Latin for four, the number 4, and later is the Latin for sides. So the translation into English is 4 sides, which is easy to remember. I wonder if you can all have a guess how many different quadrilaterals there are, how many different 4-sided shapes there are. You can shout at the screen. There are 9, and you may recognise some or all of those perhaps. And I'm just going to go through them one by one, name them, and tell you a bit about each one, because we identify shapes using their characteristics, their personalities, because they've all got different things going on, and that makes them that shape. And that's how you can compare them, because no 2 shapes will be the same. So the yellow one we know is a square, and we can say with a square there are 4 sides. Obviously there are 4 right angles of 90 degrees. Obviously there are 4 lines of symmetry, horizontal, vertical, and bisecting each diagonal. There are also 2 pairs of parallel lines. So those lines are parallel, they stay the same distance apart but never meet, and those are the same. And we also have 4 equal length sides. So the square has almost everything going on for it that we characterise within quadrilaterals. The rectangle is related obviously to the square. It has 4 right angles again. It has 2 lines of symmetry, vertical, horizontal, not the diagonal. It has 2 pairs of parallel lines, those two. And it has 2 pairs of equal length sides and another pair of equal length sides, so 2 sets of equal length sides there. The third shape, we call that a delta, or sometimes an arrowhead, and it's an interesting one. 4 sides again. We have 1 line of symmetry right down the middle there, just the one. We've got 2 sides that are the same length, and we have another pair of sides that are the same length. We also have 2 angles that are the same length. Okay, the 4th shape is a rhombus. And the rhombus some people call a squashed square, and you can see why. It has 4 equal sides. It has angles that are the same, those 2 there. Those 2 are the same as each other, but not the same as those 2, so it has 2 sets of equal angles. It also has 2 lines of symmetry across the diagonals there. Number 5, we talked about this in the quiz, is a kite. And a bit like the delta, it has a line of symmetry going down there, just the one. It has 2 pairs of equal sides, so we've got 1 pair there that are the same length, and that pair that are the same length, and a pair of equal angles, and it's that angle and that angle. I forgot to mention that these lines are parallel on the 4th shape, the rhombus there, so it has 2 pairs of parallel sides as well. Number 6 is a bit like the number 4, the rhombus. It's called a parallelogram, but rhombuses are parallelograms, strangely. So this parallelogram is the one you see most often in maths, and it has 2 pairs of parallel lines, that one, and then those 2. It has pairs of opposite angles that are the same, so those 2 angles are the same and those 2 angles are the same. So plenty in that one as well. Number 7 is an unusual shape. Only really has 1 characteristic you'll be labelling, and number 7 is called a trapezium. And the only characteristic you may have noticed is the parallel lines, the top and the bottom there. Number 8 looks a bit like number 7, and that's because it's also a trapezium, but it's a different type. It's called an isosceles trapezium. And you may think isosceles is a name we give to triangles. It is, but it doesn't mean it's a triangle. It means it's the characteristics, and it means 2 the same. So on here we still have the parallel lines, so it makes it a trapezium there, 1 set. We also have a set of equal length sides, so that one, and a line of symmetry because of that. And then we've got equal angles, top left, top right, and bottom left, bottom right. So there's loads going on with that shape. Interestingly, the only regular shape in the quadrilaterals is the square. There can only be 1 regular shape with that amount of sides, because it means all angles and sides are the same. And it brings us to the 9th shape, the odd one out. Now, try and name it for me, I'll give you a few seconds. try and think about what it has going for it. Does it have any symmetry, right angles, parallel lines, equal length sides, equal angles? No, the answer to all of those questions is no, it has nothing. It's very odd, this shape. So we call it an irregular quadrilateral because it has nothing that all the other shapes have, or some of them have, but it's still a quadrilateral. It's the only one that has none of those features, so it's just an irregular quadrilateral. Okay, just to recap on the names, we have square, rectangle, delta or arrowhead, rhombus, kite, parallelogram, trapezium, isosceles trapezium, irregular quadrilateral. Okay, so your job today is going to be to draw those 9 shapes and label them mathematically using these features here. So I've got the rectangle and the parallelogram. Hopefully we've got time to go through those. I'm just going to give you a second to look at the key. So we've got 5 features. We've got parallel lines, equal sides, and that means equal length, equal angles, right angles, and symmetry. So we'll start with the rectangle. It's a bit easier. And we'll start with parallel lines. Well, I know that a rectangle has 2 pairs of parallel lines. So what I'm going to do is take my parallel line symbol, which is this one. You can see here this little arrow sign, and we're going to put that there because that one is parallel to that one. So that's how we label parallel lines. But I'm also going to label these 2 sides because they are also parallel. Okay, clone that one there. The problem with this is that the implication or the suggestion by my doing this labeling here is that all 4 of those sides are parallel, so we just have to make sure we give them a different code if there are more than one. There's more than one set, so I'm just going to give that a double one there. Running out of time, I've only got 8 minutes, so got to be careful to give it a double, and it works the same with the sides. So this one means equal sides, and that one is equal to the bottom one, but it's not equal to the side one, so I'll give the side one another, but we have to give it, twist that around, a double, because it's not equal to the one with the 1. So that goes there, and I would put the same on this side, a double dash on that side. And then you just follow through the features. Symmetry is always a dashed line. Right angles are these here. So have a go at labeling all of your shapes, and you'll then be able to see the difference. Okay, thanks class 6.